Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Open University.
Hello friends, Namaskar. I, Dr. Bhavna Trivedi, an Assistant Professor of English, welcome you all to Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University video lecture series. Today, in this session, I am going to talk about Ferdinand de Saussure's idea of langue and parole. That is unit number 6 of paper number 10, the study of linguistics and phonetics. As you know, there are some modern concepts emerging in the beginning of 20th century by some renowned linguists, and two major schools I would like to mention over here is the representative of American School of Structural Anthropologist, and two important names are Leonard Bloomfield and Noam Chomsky, who came after Second World War. Right? Structural anthropologists. Anthropologists are those who study anthropology. Anthropology is the science that deals with anthropos. Anthrop is a human being, right? Study of human beings, taking that evolutionary period. That particular science is called anthropologist. And second important school is a European school of linguists, and among them the most influential is the Swiss linguist Ferdinand de Saussure. Now all these linguists they have come up with the idea, with the form of dichotomy and distinction to analyze the nature of language very comprehensively. Right? A dichotomy is something that splits into two, that has got two parts. Now, Ferdinand de Saussure has given very important dichotomic idea of langue and parole. Langue is language, right? Langue is language. Now, what is a language? First of all, we should understand. Language is a symbol, a sign, right? Semiotically speaking, right? If I say A, right? And if I write A in certain manner only, like two slant and in between that's horizontal line, then only you can understand this is first alphabet A, right? So it is a sign or symbol, right? In that case, we, all of us, right, share this particular idea. Right? There is a general agreement between us taking this sign that it is called only A. Right? And when I utter any word or any letter, there is an image in your mind. Right? If I say tree, T-R-E-E, there is an image in your mind taking this particular word. Right? So language is a symbol. Right? Language is a sign shared by all the individuals, all the members of the society, all the native speakers who use the same language. So language has got certain rules and regulations, right? Language is a matter of conventions, right? In that case, language resides there in our mind in the form of images, and we all share it. There is a mutual agreement between us. Right? The same idea I would like to, put in the words of Saussure, who says that, I quote, if we embrace the sum of the word images stored in the mind of all individuals, we could identify the social bond that constitutes language. It is a storehouse filled by the members of a given community through their active use, a grammatical system that has a potential existence in each brain, or more specifically in the brains of a group of individuals. For language is not complete in any speaker. It exists perfectly only within a collectivity. Unquote. So that is to say, language is there in abstract form, right, in the form of images in all individuals, and it is, it can never be complete by an individual, but it is understood in that collectivity only. If I speak certain thing, right, and if I speak that you do not know, right, then it would not be a language. If I want to communicate with you, we must share the same language. We must have certain rules and conventions, rules and regulations regarding language. Then and then only we can communicate. Now, taking this particular, quotation of a Saussure, we can say, a language is a social behavior. Being a part of this society, if we want to communicate, we need to follow the conventions of language, we need to follow rules and regulations of language, and then only we can use, right, as a means of communication. Other important thing is language resides there in our mind in the form of images. So it doesn't have any physical, form. It is not, kind of an object, but it is in abstract form in our mind. Now, in another case, it is a kind of another dichotomy, parole, right? What Saussure says, about parole, right? It is dichotomy in that case, competence versus performance, lang versus parole, right? Parole is your performance, right? Parole is an individual expression, individual act, right, manifested by any individual using that conventions of language, right? Parole is, in that case, parole is a kind of concrete form that we express by using the conventions of language, right? If you know rules and regulations and convention of so and so language, right, you can express that particular thing in concrete form, and that's why it becomes the manifestation of your, whatever knowledge you have. Taking lang, you can express. So by in that case, performance is something, that becomes, you can say, manifestation of shared knowledge, right? In your community, right, in your society, if you only know the language and if other people do not know the language, then it cannot be expressed, right? So lang, if it is mutually, shared, and then only if you use, you can express in the form of your performance. So competence is something that you have in the form of rules and regulation, right, that you acquire, right, by studying certain rules of language, and then when you use it in concrete form, it becomes parole. So in that case, the sounds and sentences that we use in language, right, they are, in that case, we follow the conventions, and individual performance, whatever we do, right, we can make it meaningful only if we share that conventions and if we have properly followed that conventions, right? So parole is individual performance, and lang is, in that case, competence, capacity that we have acquired to use that language in our society. In that case, Saussure here considers this particular idea. Lang is a legislative side, right? Legislation, law and legislation is something that has got rules and regulations, right, that every member of the society has to follow, right? If you want to be in certain society, you have to follow, that laws of society, that, rules of society. So lang is a matter of, legislative side of the society. And, right, taking that particular thing, right, when you use it, when you follow it, right, you execute that particular thing. So parole is an executive side of society, right? By taking that particular rules and regulations, when you execute there in your behavior, in your, life, that would be that parole. Right, so in that case, to understand these two things, between lang and parole, let us take one example. Say, for example, a game of chess. right? Chess, all the members of those who play chess, they all might be knowing all the rules and regulations of chess, right? To play chess, the game of chess, one must learn the rules and regulations of chess. But while playing, each game differs, right? Each player plays differently, right? So rules are there in the minds of players, but execution of that rules, right, while playing, right, differs. So in that case, it depends on the personal performance. Competence is there, right, to play that particular game. But presenting that particular competence, that is performance, right, it differs from person to person. Right? It differs from person to person because every person has got different wavelength. Right? So competence can be in that sense, can be acquired, can be cultivated, but performance has got so many is a matter of so many factors. So performance is something, right, that you can have only when you have learned that particular rules, conventions of that thing, right? And in that case we can conclude that language can be in that case learned by following certain conventions. You can learn language, right? But parole, right, is matter of all your individual expression. That's why Saussure says language can be studied and we cannot study parole, right? Thank you.